report to you live from Kansas City, Missouri, with breaking news on the European Union.
A little bit of an infographic. The European Union has been in service, has been in existence since 1992 to the present.
So you can see here are some of our buddies from the European Union, all their colorful flags. That is them all represented.
You can see friendly faces like Sweden, Poland, very memorable faces. That is their national flag, symbolizing all of their members.
Now, why exactly does the European Union exist? Ultimately, it exists for the purpose of peace spreading throughout Europe, because World War I and World War II were extremely devastating for Europe, as most of the battles took place there, and they really just want to come together now and help to promote peace and security and growth for everybody who lives in Europe.
So the next map we have here is a map of all of the member states. You'll see on the left, on the green map, you'll see everyone that is currently within the European Union. And then on the pink map, you'll see another face. You'll see the United Kingdom on there. Their stance in the European Union is somewhat hard to explain, seeing how since 2016 the United Kingdom has been trying to leave the European Union due to sovereignty reasons. They are still part of the. They are semi-part of the European Union within the trade aspect of the coalition. So there's an asterisk next to it to symbolize how they're very iffy on the subject.
Mm-hmm. Now this graph shows the complexity of the Union. It's not necessarily just we're all together in this. There's actually like these countries are their separate group and these countries work in different ways. So.
Yeah, you'll see here in the blue right there, the European Union. That encompasses all of the countries that are actually within it. You'll see Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Spain, Luxembourg, many different countries. But you'll also see countries like Slovenia here, who actually are part of the European Union, but, well, they're just part of the European Union. They're one of the only states that is actually part of only one organization. But you see countries like the United Kingdom, who is part of the European Customs Union, which actually is, as I explained earlier, it is the trade part of the European Union. They decided to maintain their trade relations with the European Union because it was free, open trade, and who doesn't love free and open trade?
And they unite based off of treaties.
Mm-hmm. The Eurozone is a little bit of call it a premium club membership into the European Union. It encompasses all the nations who adopted the euro as their prime currency. Just as England decided to not, when it was officially within the European Union, it was not part of the Eurozone because it decided to keep the British pound in service instead of the euro due to sovereignty reasons.
On this next slide, you see the European Union leaders. The man to his forehead, his name is Emmanuel Macron, the president of France.
And then to the left of him is a woman. She is the president of the European Council. She is the symbolic figurehead, but also has some judicial powers. And you'll see other faces such as Angela Merkel in the red blazer, and then you'll also see another former Prime Minister Theresa May, who was Prime Minister of the United Kingdom up until about 2018.
Yes, I believe that. Could you return to that slide one more time? I believe that the woman right there in the orangish coat, I believe that she is also working with Germany.
Yeah, she's the Chancellor of Germany.
Yes. Now, as far as the articles, they're very, very much based on treaties. So this tries, Articles 1, 2, and 3, tries to establish their common values and goals, which is mainly to make sure that everybody stays safe, to minimize terrorism, and to help scientific, technological advancement, the whole 9 yards.
And the rest of the articles are meant to do with bits and pieces. Article 4 is meant to establish what is the limit of your sovereignty within the European Union, because when you are part of the European Union, you do lose part of your sovereignty to a nation. Yes. In the effort to create a more firm and unified Europe. That's one of the reasons why Britain left, is because they felt like their sovereignty was being too highly infringed upon, and they left for that reason.
Yes.
Their Article 8 deals with establishing close relations with neighboring states, and not only the European Union, but countries outside, such as the Vatican, Switzerland, other countries outside of it. They want to establish a very close connected network of alliances within Europe to avoid any sort of conflict within Europe because of the two stains upon it, the millions of lives lost during World War I and the tens of millions of lives lost in World War II.
Yes. The articles really work to avoid tyranny and to establish checks and balances within the power system.
Now, the purpose of the EU is to promote scientific technological progress. It is to
Enhance the economy.
It is to create a vast network of rich cultural linguistic highways. So it's meant to bind together Europe, to acknowledge that different parts of Europe have different cultures, yet they are all unified with the grand label European.
Yes, and to establish social and territorial cohesion. Now, what's their checklist? What do they have to get done? They've got lots of goals. Mainly, peace and safety, freedom, security, protect the environment. There's been a lot of concerns, a lot of people advocating for making sure that the air is protected from pollution, gas. As the world improves, as the world advances, it poses problems and risks to the environment around them, to animals, to their habitats within Europe. And so they're working to make sure that they help to preserve the habitats there. Scientific, technological progress, of course, enhance the economy, make sure there's enough jobs for everybody, and make sure that they keep the euro as their predominant currency for everybody.
Now, the European Union has had a certain goal in mind as well. They have had the mainland European nations have, for some time, had the goal of creating, some of the members of the European Union have had the similar goal of trying to not only create a coalition or a union of European states, but some of the more, you could call extreme elements of the European Union have been trying to advocate for that the long-term goal is to create a unified Europe, a formed state, such as a grand European country that will not only go from France to Germany to Poland, it will extend all across all members of the European Union. In 2012, the EU, an organization, a union, was given the Nobel Peace Prize, not a person, which is typically who gets it. The entire organization was given it because it fought for peace, reconciliation, and democracy throughout Europe. It stood up to Belarus when it's trying to stand up to Belarus currently with fraudulent elections. It has truly gone with its reconciliation path as well. When Greece was bailed out, they sacrificed their currency. They sacrificed the value of the currency by lending money to Greece and allowing them to sort of stabilize their economy and stabilize their nations. They're going, back then in the early 2000s, they had, when their country went basically bankrupt, their country saw riots the same as the United States is seeing now. Absolutely devastating riots and panic ensued the nation, and the European Union came to its aid when it needed it.
Yes. I believe that the European Union is also taking measures to help prevent terrorism, which at first there was a time where that was happening a lot. I believe that, yes, they're making laws and trying to help the things that were happening with the subways, the attacks. Yes, they're involved in the daily personal things of the European people too.
Yes, in France recently there was a beheading of a history teacher in France. It was labeled by Emmanuel Macron, the president of France. He was labeled as Islamic terrorism. Now, while France itself has been taking measures to correctly prosecute any suspect besides the one that was shot by police, the European Union has also invested resources into digging down, finding out, and trying to secure the stability in Europe. And with France being a major nation, the stability of a major nation is the stability for all nations. The values of the EU are human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, rule under the law, and human rights.
And tolerance also.
Tolerance not only for all religions within it, either Catholic, Protestant, Islam. It has been working its hardest to create
an
inclusive environment within, to create a welcoming culture abroad in Europe, not only not only to create a stable Europe, but to create a good image for Europe, since its past has been known for its colonialization, it's been known for its human rights violations. It is very, very committed, and its values are very ingrained into itself to basically apologize and redeem itself for what it's done in the past.
So ultimately what they're trying to do is work as a team.
Completely, whether it's Europe, whether it's Germany, they all work as one.
Now, the question is raised, why do we as Americans need to know about the European Union? Why is it important to us? What are our relations as a country with them, specifically the European Union?
Not only is the European Union one of our closest allies itself, the economic organization, but many countries, almost every country within the European Union has an alliance with us, either through NATO or individual alliances, especially with our former allies that we fought alongside with in World War I and World War II, such as Italy, most generally France and England, are two closest allies when in Europe, but also with Germany and other Eastern European nations who are trying to beat off any corruption or any invasion or any sort of security breaches from whether it be Russia or whether it be from far-off influences like China. The European Union has been instrumental in trying to fend off not only foreign influence when it comes to trade, especially with China. You hear stories all the time about China using trade to debt trap countries and basically create economic puppet states out of them. But the European Union has one of the largest economies in the world. And without many European nations working together, they would not be able to effectively form a wall against any outside influence.
Yes, our relations with the EU are also very, very much bilateral relations. And as a society, we owe much of our diverseness and creativity and all the ideas that they give from successive waves of immigration, practically from every European country from the last 500 years.
France, one of the founding nations of the European Union, one of their great philosophers, many great philosophers actually have been the ones that have contributed to our Constitution. Their ideas, Judeo-Christian values are basically the founding ideals of almost every European nation, and they are the founding ideas of our nation. We have so much diverse connection to Europe that our alliance with them was almost inevitable, but also we need to continue that alliance because one, Europe is extremely valuable in its economy. We are excellent trade partners. We trade billions of dollars with them every year. We grow richer from them, and they grow richer from us. Militarily, they are essential in keeping the peace throughout the world. Europe was able to help contain the Yugoslavian breakup. They were able to create a safer Balkans when there was thousands of lives being lost in civil war. And lastly, they are essential in containing foreign threats like Russia and China.
It's important to know about the EU because their story is also our story. And it's just important that we come together with them and unite as a team.
So when you see a French person, say bonjour, and when you see a German, say guten Tag, and when you see any European, say thank you for creating a peaceful and tolerant Europe.
Yes, so when you see somebody that's German, say hallo and guten Morgen.
Yes, question.
Really simple answer. Is EU good?
It depends on your point of view. If you are a staunch, one of the reasons why Britain ended up leaving the European Union, they thought the European Union was not good. The British always have a long-standing tradition of keeping themselves, just like the Russians, they don't consider themselves part of Europe because Russia's so big, it considers itself like Russia is Russia. Russia is not European. But Britain has also had that British stoicism of saying Britain is not European. Britain is Britain. And another thing is also sovereignty. Britain has also had a bit of an immigration crisis when it comes to millions of people. The European Union has done its best to control the immigration crisis by diversifying who gets which country.